Okay, 6 o'clock. We're going to call the meeting of the Charter Township of Bedford Planning Commission to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call when you're ready, please.
Chairman Stein.
Here.
Trustee McKay.
Here.
Commissioner Tony Artis.
Here.
Commissioner Brown. Here. Commissioner Jones. Here. And Commissioner Billotson.
Here.
And Commissioner Tuggle is absent. Six present, quorum established.
I'll let the absence report show that Commissioner Tuggle did reach out and let me know that she was not going to be here this evening.
All right.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is going to be approval of our June 23rd, 2026 agenda. Do I have a motion?
My motion.
Support. Kevin? Any discussion on the agenda? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Billotson.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Artis.
Yeah.
Trustee McKay.
Yes.
Commissioner Tuggle is absent. Commissioner Brown is yes. 6 yes, motion carries.
Did you ask me?
Oh, Chairman Stein.
Yes.
I wondered if you're gonna catch that.
I don't catch everything, but my ears are working right now. Thoroughly, yeah.
All right. 6 yes, motion carries.
All right, wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next item is going to be approval of the May 19th, 2026 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion? Yes.
Second.
Any discussion on those meeting minutes? Trustee McKay, did you want me to clarify the portion in there where we were talking about the moratorium, or are we all set there?
I think we're okay.
Okay,
I read through it and I said, we're okay.
okay, all right, perfect. All right, seeing no discussion on that, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tuggle absent. Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown, yes. Chairman Stein.
Yes.
Commissioner Billotson.
Yes.
Commissioner Artis.
Yeah.
Trustee McKay.
Yes.
6 yes, motion carries.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is going to be public comment time. This is on agenda items only at this time. Oh, I did. Oh, I skipped 2. Correct. That's
Your eyes aren't
I
tonight.
got, the ears are working, the eyes are not. I'm just in a big hurry here.
They're in a big hurry.
Next item on the agenda is our building and zoning report from Cody. Do you have anything to add?
I'm basically just, last week and a half, I've been full blown on the RFD and the fire station. If you've been in the village, you can see that's completely gone, and they passed their open hole inspection this morning. So they'll start tearing out the basement, and they're starting on the tower next week. We had a meeting with one of the design firms that wanted to get an idea a little more about that. I spoke with Mike last week. That is something that will be coming in front of the planning commission for the new station design, or not the design, but the site plan. Essential services, which the fire department would be, is not a special land use, but government offices are. And since it's kind of going to be mixed with the cemetery office and the marijuana office in there, it will be coming in front of the planning commission. So just be prepared for that, hopefully within the next 6 months or so.
Okay.
Cody, do you know if they saved any of the stones? I had suggested that they do that to sell them.
So we had requested that from the land bank. It did not get put in the scope of work for the contractors, but they did do us a solid and knock off like half a wall outwards, and we collected that. And then they left that in a pile kind of near the road. And I thought everyone's going to steal that. So I went out that night on the storm and picked out another almost 100 rocks.
Cody,
And
really?
hid those. And then Thor and Mike have hidden those since then. So that way people can't keep picking at them because that pile was slowly dwindling. So
Slowly. Not so slowly.
yeah, not very slowly, but
Okay.
Whoa.
yeah.
Anything else, Cody?
Nope, that's mostly been a couple weeks.
Next item on the agenda is our liaison report from Trustee McKay.
Just to wish to express the board's appreciation for Mike discussing the types and uses of moratoriums. The board is definitely looking to the planning commission to make a determination as to the type and use that they would recommend for us. And in particular, of course, the focus is on data centers, but we go beyond that because we want to be able to also, develop a process that we could use it for anything else that happens to come along that we need to study and understand. So, thank you.
No problem. I was happy to do it. And as you see on the agenda, we'll discuss a little bit about it.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. Thank you. Now it's time for public comment. Agenda items only at this time. We'll open that at 6:06. And seeing no public comment on agenda items only, we'll close that at 6:06. All right, next item on the agenda is discussion of old business, the continuation of the public hearing. Do I have a motion to continue that?
All motion,
Second. Thank you.
Kevin?
Yep.
Mhm.
All right, continuation of the public hearing for the request of APC Towers applicant represented by Arkaven 23133 Woodward Ave, number 426 Ferndale, Michigan, 48220 for special land use and site plan approval for wireless telecommunications on property address 20340 Hubbard Road, Battle Creek, Michigan, 49017. Parcel number 040-024-027-01, subject property. Standards of review for wireless telecommunications are located in section 4.55 of the Township zoning ordinance. Special land use standards of review are contained in section 1304. Standards of review for site plans are contained in section 1303. The subject property is located in the Township's neighborhood residential district zoning classification and is approximately 6.27 acres in size. And I see both of the representatives for the applicant are here tonight.
I'll let Leland decide where he wants to stand. I prefer.
Okay, sure. So what we're gonna do here tonight, we have a few questions that we'll ask you. We are gonna open it up for public comment before we get into that, and then we will close the public hearing and get into our deliberations at that time. But there are some questions that I think we want to ask before we get into that. So at this time, I will open it up for public comment on the continuation of the public hearing only at this time. 6:09. And seeing none, we'll close that public comment for the public hearing only at 6:09. Okay. All right, does anybody from the planning commission team have any specific questions that they would like the applicant to answer or confirm via the information that you guys were provided, the updated site plan, the updated McKenna report? Is there any specific questions that you'd like to ask them before we get into deliberation?
Mm.
I just have one question in regards to,
Sure.
I know we were discussing the height
Mhm.
and possible issues with the height. Have we made a determination of the height of the tower?
So that is one of the things that we need to talk about.
Okay.
So how we are going to do this is it'll be attached as a condition of approval from us. If they get approval for a variance from the ZBA.
Okay.
But real quickly, while we're on that topic, what is the exact height of the tower again? I want, if you guys could confirm that for the record.
Yep. Make sure what I tell you is funny.
Sure, absolutely, no,
Absolutely.
I understand.
One, including the lightning rod, is $199.
Okay, 199.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. And then I'm not sure if in that McKenna report, I'll look here real quick. Did they note the setbacks that they were short in footage? The ZBA will need that information when they get into their deliberation.
It's on the application.
Is it? Okay,
On that before variance for specific.
okay. But the specific amount of feet?
Yeah.
Okay,
You know what that is called?
I'll just need it so I can put it in the conditions, so that they know what
83 feet.
83 feet, so relief of 83 feet.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we will do the conditions of approval after we've done the finding of facts for site review and the general standards, and then the specific standards for wireless telecommunication. And that will be one of the conditions that is attached for their approval. Seth, do I need to elaborate any further on that? I mean, so I've got the fact that the condition will be attached that they need approval, the variance from the ZBA. I've got the total, the tower height, and then what they're seeking for relief as far as the condition goes.
Right. Did the applicant have a chance to see the conditions?
They did not. Would you guys like to take a minute?
I would, at least if I could have a copy.
Yeah, no, right here. Yep.
So I'm assuming this will probably be
Yep.
discussed tonight.
Yep.
So,
So
thank you.
the conditions are on the back, and then, or the back two, and then, the finding of fact that we'll do, is all of those there together in that first packet. And then any other questions? I just had, one more. I just wanted to confirm. Too many papers floating around. I just wanted, again, if the applicant could just confirm on the exterior lighting, there is going to be no lighting attached to this tower. Okay,
On the tower, and as you mentioned before, only motion light on the ground.
correct. On the little service
Yeah, on the platform.
or whatever.
So if someone's working there at night, it will come on, but otherwise.
Okay.
it's dark.
Those are the only two things that I needed them to confirm. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to ask them before we get into deliberations? Is there anything that the applicant would like to pass on? We all have a copy of your resubmitted documents, a resubmitted report from McKenna. We have that. Is there anything you guys would like to add?
The only thing, and I don't know whether this is mentioned in any of the
Mhm.
provisions or anything like that, but I just want to make sure that you have recognized on the site plan, we reduced the compound even further to 55 by 55.
I did see a note on there that there was a difference in that
So the
width.
base area has not changed, it's still 100 by 100, but that's going to be the entire amount that the compound can expand in the future, if ever needed. We never anticipated that going to happen,
Okay,
but they decided to reduce the further.
okay,
And change the fence to wood.
okay. But those are notated in on the that's dated 6/5. Okay. So that is what we're basing our decision on. You'll hear that number a lot. But yes, I did notice that there was a note from McKenna in there on that. Okay, any other questions for them? Okay, if you wanted to go ahead and, you do not have to stand while we do this. It'll be a lengthy process. So yes. All right. So we will do this very, very similar to what we have done in the past, guys. You should have, I gave everybody a three-piece little packet there. The first one is our finding of fact for our standards of review. The next one is going to be the conditions of approval. And then there's some draft language regarding moratoriums that we'll get to later. So right now you just need that first one in there. That has on the first page, it's going to say, Charter Township of Bedford Resolution number 2601. So you'll flip that over to the second page for the standards of site plan approval. All right, I know it's long and boring, but we're going to do it the same as we always do, and we're going to go through them one at a time. All right. And if there's any questions, if anybody has any concerns as we're going through, please interrupt me. These findings are based off of the site plan that was resubmitted that everyone has a copy of from 6/5 of 26. The McKenna report that was updated, I think, on the 16th of June. And then, all subsequent material that was submitted before that did not change. One, adequacy of information. The site plan shall include all required information in a sufficiently complete and understandable form to provide an accurate description of the proposed uses and structures. Finding the submitted material does comply with this provision. 2, site design characteristics. All elements of the site design shall be harmoniously, efficiently organized in relation to topography, the size and type of the parcel, the character of the adjoining property, and the type and size of buildings. The site shall be developed so as not to impede the normal and orderly development or improvement of surrounding property for uses permitted by this ordinance. Finding. Given the location of development patterns, heavily forested areas, and the location of high voltage wires, it is not anticipated that the tower will be constructed in a manner that will not be harmonious to the surrounding properties. 3, compliance with district requirements. The site plan shall comply with the district requirements for minimum floor space, height of building space, lot size, open space, density, and all other requirements set forth in the schedule of regulations unless otherwise provided in this ordinance. Finding. The subject site is located in the RR AOS district, referencing the McKenna report. All front, side, and rear setbacks appear to be met with the site plan dated 6/5 of 26. This provision is satisfied. 4, emergency vehicle access. All buildings or groups of buildings shall be arranged as to permit convenient and direct emergency vehicle access. Finding. With additional material submitted, the criteria may be met with coordination from the fire authority. It is recommended that we have some type of emergency access in the form of a knockbox or other agreed upon type of access. This provision will be satisfied via condition of approval. The applicant did mention at the first, they were more than willing to have, the fire department come out and make sure that the driveway is always wide enough and everything else. 5, ingress and egress. Every structure or dwelling unit shall be provided with the adequate means of ingress and egress via public or private streets. Finding. The submitted documents provided shows access through private drive with easement provided from the parent parcel. Based on the site plan submitted dated 6/5 of 26, it does not appear that the construction of the tower will impede ingress and egress, and this provision is satisfied. 6, exterior lighting. Exterior lighting shall be designed so that it's focused downward and deflective away from the adjoining properties, and so that does not impede vision of drivers along the adjacent streets. Finding. This provision is satisfied. Site plan dated 6/5/26 shows no exterior lighting, and the applicant has confirmed that maintenance will be conducted during normal business hours, and they've also confirmed that there'll be no lights attached to that. 7, public services. Adequate services and utilities, including water, sewage disposal, sanitary sewer, and stormwater control services shall be available or provided and shall be designed with sufficient capacity and durability to properly serve the development. All streets and roads, water, sewer, and drainage systems and similar facilities shall conform to the design and construction standards of the township or county as appropriate. Finding. Wireless telecommunication facilities are not commonly manned and staffed, therefore the need for water, sewer, and stormwater management as well as primary roadway construction is negligible. This facility will not be accessed off a primary roadway, but off existing drive with easement. This provision is satisfied. Screening. Off-street parking, loading and unloading areas, outside refuge storage areas and other storage areas that are visible from adjacent homes or from the public road shall be screened by the walls or landscaping of adequate height and shall comply with this ordinance. Finding, the landscaping plan submitted 6/5/26 shows additional plantings around the base of the tower to obscure the view from road access. With the retention of existing woodlands and screening, this provision can be satisfied with reasonable condition being attached concerning screening, which we will do when we get there. 9, coordination with adjacent sites. All site features, including circulation, parking, building, orientation, landscape lighting, utilities, common facilities, and open space shall be coordinated with adjacent properties. Finding, this facility is proposed to be located away from adjacent property, as such coordination may not be applicable as they have a lease. This provision is satisfied. All right, and that takes care of the standards for site plan approval. One thing I did not read up there at the very top, the following criteria shall be used as the basis upon which site plans will be reviewed and approved. The Planning Commission shall approve a site plan only if it conforms to all of those following standards, which they did. And this is formatted right out of our zoning ordinance, so we don't have to go back and forth in the pages. Special land use standards of review. Standards for granting special land use approval. Approval of a special land use proposal shall be based on the determination that the proposed use will be consistent with the intent and the purposes of this ordinance. Will comply with all applicable requirements of the ordinance and the following standards. 1, compatibility with adjacent uses. The proposed special land use shall be designed, constructed, operated, and maintained to be compatible with the uses on surrounding land. The site design of the proposed special land use shall minimize the impact of the site activity on surrounding properties. In determining whether the requirement has been met, consideration shall be given to the following. A, the location and screening of vehicular circulation and parking areas in relation to the surrounding development. B, the location and screening of outdoor storage, outdoor activity or work areas and mechanical equipment in relation to the surrounding development. C, the hours of operation of proposed use. Approval of a special land use may be conditioned upon an operation with specified hours considered appropriate to ensure minimal impact on surrounding areas. D, the bulk placement of the materials of construction of the proposed use in relation to surrounding areas. And E, proposed landscaping and other site amenities, additional landscaping over and above the requirements of the ordinance may be required as a condition of approval of the special land use. Finding, the facility does not propose any significant parking areas and the use is intended to be operated remotely. The use will operate 24 hours a day, so limiting the hours of operation would hinder that use. The site plan dated 6/5/26 appears to show a densely wooded area and the applicant has included additional screening. The site plan design doesn't negatively impact surrounding land use and has adequate screening. This standard is satisfied. 2, compatibility with the master plan. The request satisfies the goals, objectives, narrative, and the intent of the township master plan. Finding, the township zoning ordinance allows for wireless communication towers within the RRAOS district zoning classification, thereby satisfying the goals, objectives, and intent of the township master plan, and confirms that a wireless communication tower is appropriate land use for the RRAOS zoning district classification. This standard is satisfied. 3, public services. The proposed special land use shall be located so as to be adequately served by essential public facilities and services such as highways, roads, police, fire protection, drainage systems, water and sewage facilities, and schools, unless the proposal contains an acceptable plan for providing necessary services or evidence that such services will be available by the time the special land use is established. Finding, wireless telecommunication facilities are not commonly manned or staffed, therefore the need for water, sewer, storm water management, as well as primary roadway construction is negligible. This facility will not be accessed off Need to add an F there. Off a primary road, but off existing drive with easement that connects to a public road. This provision is satisfied with an attached condition pertaining to the elevation or evaluation from the fire authority concerning the driveway. 4, impact of traffic. The arrangement of the public and common ways for vehicular pedestrian circulation shall respect the pattern of existing or planned streets or pedestrian or bicycle pathways in the vicinity of the site. The width of the streets shall be appropriate for the volume of traffic they will carry based on the Calhoun County Road Commission standards. In order to ensure public safety and promote the efficient traffic flow and turning movements, the applicant may be required to limit street access points, construct a secondary access road, install traffic controls or signage, or otherwise modify the circulation plan. Finding: the proposed facility is not expected to impact traffic. Impact will be minimal after construction is complete. There will be no employees working on the project site at the conclusion of construction. This standard is satisfied. Detrimental effects. The proposed special land use shall not involve any activities, processes, materials, equipment, or conditions of operation, and shall not be located or designed so as to be detrimental or hazardous to persons or property or public health, safety, and welfare. In determining whether this requirement has been met, consideration shall be given to the level of traffic, noise, vibration, smoke, fumes, odors, dust, glare, and light. Finding: subject to the facility being built through ordinance and code standards, it is not anticipated that the communication tower will have a detrimental effect on the immediate area nor be hazardous to adjacent land uses. I'm all right.
Right.
Is my tongue getting a little thick? I should have my Bible.
Maybe a drink of water or something?
Yeah. Compatibility with natural environment. The proposed special land use shall be compatible with the natural environment and conserve natural resources and energy. Finding: the proposed use will cover approximately 4% of the property. Given the additional screening and the site plan dated 6/5/26 with the subsequent conservation of the existing woodlands, it is anticipated that this use will be compatible with the natural environment to the best extent possible. This standard is satisfied. I thought I had one in there, but that's all right. We'll keep going.
Maybe one over there.
Okay. Additional criteria for review for granting a special land use and site plan approval for wireless telecommunications pursuant to section 4.55 of the Charter Township of Bedford zoning ordinance. I'm going to skip the definition part. I think we all know what wireless telecommunication is.
Correct.
Standards. New wireless telecommunication facilities shall be permitted by special use approval in all zoning districts, regardless of whether a new support structure tower will be constructed or not, subject to the following standards. A, before constructing a new facility, the applicant must demonstrate that they cannot achieve the need for service improvement by co-locating, at an existing facility. The applicant must submit a coverage and/or capacity information, including propagation maps and other information requested by the township to demonstrate the need for services improvement and why a co-location is not possible. If an owner or operator of an existing tower refuses to allow a co-location, written evidence of denial of the co-location request must be submitted to the township and must include a reason for denial. The proposed co-location will not do any of the following. 1, increase the overall height of the wireless communication support structure by more than 20 feet or 10% of its original height, whichever is greater. 2, increase the width of the wireless communication support structure by more than the minimum necessary to permit co-location. And 3, increase the area of existing equipment compound to greater than 2,500 square feet. The proposed co-location complies with the terms and conditions of any previous final approval by the Planning Commission. Finding: the applicant has provided a current coverage and proposed coverage map in material submitted for review for the public hearing on 5/19/26 and 6/23/26. Site plan dated 6/5/26 and the McKenna report dated 6/16/26. The above standards that are applicable are satisfied. B, to the extent practical, all ground equipment associated with the facility must be enclosed within a locked building. Finding. The planning commission discussed the type of equipment that will be stored on site and determined that the cabinets described by the applicant are sufficient enough and construction of the building would not be practical. This standard is not applicable to the application with materials submitted for review for the public hearing 5/19/26, 6/23/26, and site plan dated 6/5/26, and their McKenna report dated 6/16/26. Standard is satisfied. C, information must be submitted showing the facility is in compliance with all applicable FCC regulations regarding radio frequency emissions. Finding. The standard is satisfied with materials submitted for review for the public hearing on 5/19/26, 6/23/26, and site plan dated 6/5/26, and the McKenna report dated 6/16/26. Document dated February 13, 2026 that was provided determined a determination of no hazard. Information must be submitted showing the facility will not cause interference with any nearby existing telecommunication facilities. Finding. The applicant provided a copy of the FCC antenna structure registration in the materials submitted for review for the public hearing on 5/19/26, 6/23/26, site plan dated 6/5/26, and McKenna report dated 6/16/26. Document dated February 13, 2026, determination of no hazard was provided and the standard is satisfied. E. Signage notifying the public of potential high voltage and radio frequency emissions and given the contact information for the tower owner and operators of all equipment on the site must be posted on the exterior fence. Finding. This standard is not able to be satisfied, addressed with the applicant. I forgot to ask them that. A reasonable condition shall be attached of the approved signage with the owner information attached to the fence in intervals approved by the planning commission, and the information will need to be addressed on the site plan. Claudia, can you make a note for me to come back to that?
Yes.
On our conditions. Yeah, if a new tower is to be constructed, it shall meet the following standards. The tower must set back from all property lines by a distance equal to 1.5 times its height. Finding. The standard remains unsatisfied and will be attached as a condition of approval from the ZBA. 2, lighting on the tower shall be prohibited unless required by Federal Aviation Administration. Finding. Applicant indicates no lighting on the tower is required or will be placed on the tower indicated on the site plan dated 6/5/2026. This standard is not applicable with this application and is satisfied. The tower must be of monopole design, guided and lath. That's interesting. I don't know if I've ever said that word before. Towers are prohibited.
Better than letters.
Okay. Finding. The site plan dated 6/5/26 and application information submitted shows the proposed tower is to be monopole. This standard is satisfied. No signage shall be placed upon the tower structure. Finding. The applicant acknowledged that no signage will be placed on or after construction. The site plan dated 6/5/26 indicates none. The standard is satisfied. The tower must be the shortest possible height required to provide the service desired by the applicant. The applicant must submit coverage and or capacity information, including propagation maps and other information requested by the township to demonstrate the need for service improvement and why the request of height is necessary. The township may request further information, including propagation maps demonstrating the service at lower heights in order to determine for itself whether the request of the height is necessary. Finding. The applicant has indicated the need for the request of the tower and has submitted those maps. The planning commission may attach a condition of approval for the request of additional height propagation maps to help determine if this standard is being satisfied. But they did provide us the original documents and they did touch on that.
So this was a pass?
Yes,
Okay,
unless we want to require that as a condition. I do not think we need to because they provided what we need to. for that. The base of the tower and all associated equipment must be surrounded by a locked, opaque screen fence, meeting the standards of the zoning district that the tower is located within. Finding the fencing details have been updated with the site plan dated 6/5/26, and the standard is satisfied. Thank you for doing that. The applicant must specify the number of co-location sites that will be available on the tower. Finding the applicant has provided a rendering, noting the location of 2 future antennas. The standard is satisfied. A structural analysis signed and sealed by a licensed engineer must be submitted demonstrating the proposed tower will be able to support all proposed antenna, including co-locations. Finding stamp design drawings have been submitted with revised material dated 6/5/26. And this satisfies this standard. The applicant must submit renderings of photosims of the proposed tower as viewed from the following locations: the nearest public roadway, the nearest residential use, any other locations requested by the township from which the tower may potentially be visible. Finding photosims of the proposed tower have been submitted for consideration by the planning commission for reference points showing before and after the standard has been satisfied. That was a mouthful.
so are we gonna go back to?
Page 8, measure E.
Yeah. Page 8 for the signage.
Yes, we can. All right, so the second document you guys had says a conditions of approval on top. We have A through J listed. We will add K. Ask the applicant to update the site plan requiring that. Unless,
Is that the signage?
yes, correct.
It's on V8.
Is it on Z8? Okay. By golly, it is. All right, and looking at that, it looks like you're gonna have it on the gate. And then over next to the gate, two places?
Yeah, 2 on the fence, FPC and the
Okay.
ABC one on the fence.
Okay.
With fence, and then, if the gate's installed, 1 more on the gate itself, just the FPC registration sign on the
Okay.
gate.
All right. Is everybody happy with just the 2 of those on that fence?
That's really only the visible side of the.
Correct, of that project,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
That's.
All right, so I'm gonna go back and correct it for the record on page 8E, signage notifying the public of potential high voltage and radio frequency emissions and giving the contact information for the tower owner and operators of all the equipment on the site must be posted on the exterior fence. Finding this standard is satisfied with the site plan dated 6/5/26. Page number Z8. We do not need to add that as an additional condition. Okay, moving on to the conditions of approval. Special use permit conditions, the Charter Township of Bedford Planning Commission can approve the application subject to the following reasonable conditions pursuant to section 1304 of the zoning ordinance and site plan approval as authorized by section 1303 D1B of the zoning ordinance. All conditions are intended to ensure that the project complies with the requirements of the zoning ordinance. The Charter Township of Bedford Planning Commission may approve ABC Towers agent Arcaven on behalf of Verizon special land use application for a wireless communication tower addressed as 20340 Hubbard Road, Battle Creek, Michigan, parcel number 04-024-027-01 as depicted on the site plan dated June 5th, 2026, subject to the terms and conditions set forth below. A, all applicable requirements of the zoning ordinance must be met in their entirety, as well as all other applicable laws, ordinances, and rules of the federal, state, county, and township governments. Any deviation from the approved permit and site plan approval and terms requires planning commission approval. And I just want to touch on that. You said the applicant did state that, that someday maybe could potentially, expand the tower. It doesn't sound like it's likely. But just so the applicant understands, that would need to come back for a site review.
For a compounding.
Yes, correct. Of any kind. Any deviation from an approved site plan needs to have that. B, APC Towers agent Arcaven on behalf of Verizon shall submit a performance guarantee to be deposited with the township to ensure faithful completion of the improvements as required in section 1304 B10. The bond will be determined with help from the township engineer. C, APC Towers agent Arcaven on behalf of Verizon agreed to a vegetative buffer, evergreens, to visually screen the new proposed wireless communications tower from the adjacent residential uses. APC Towers agent Arcaven on behalf of Verizon will maintain the vegetative buffer for the life of the project and replace any dead or dead trees within one growing season or at the earliest possible time for replacement. D, prior to the construction permit issuance, the applicant must provide a fully resubmitted set of documents containing all resubmitted documents, agreements, and site plan revisions. 3 complete full-size hard copy and 1 digital copy, which shall be submitted to the zoning administrator, planning commission for review and confirmation. That's a requirement out of the zoning ordinance that we have, so that you get the approval and we have the copies. E, construction delivery loading hours shall be between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. No Saturday work shall begin before 8 a.m. and work conducted outside, and no Sunday work. No Saturday work shall begin before 8 a.m. Work conducted outside of the established dates and hours requires prior written approval from the township supervisor or designee.
Hey, Mike, real quick.
Yes, sir.
So on this, I've been noticing this in the conditions list, like Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Saturday, it goes from 8 to 8, but we never specify when you want work to end on Saturday.
Okay.
So whoever the PC thing.
Okay. You guys want to do 4 or 5 on a Saturday?
Five.
I believe for consistency purposes, I'm pretty sure we did 5 o'clock for consumers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do 5.
So for the record, construction, delivery, loading, and unloading hours shall be between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and no Saturday work shall begin before 8 a.m. and must conclude by 5 p.m. Work conducted outside of the established dates and hours requires prior written approval from the township supervisor or designee. F, APC Towers agent Arkaven on behalf of Verizon agreed to allow periodic evaluations of the driveway being used to access the site for emergency service vehicles. The applicant agrees to maintain the road in a manner recommended by the Township Fire Authority for emergency services access. You guys will note that that site plan they resubmitted did have show the full extent of the driveway. G, the special land use permit, including all conditions of approval and site plans, including any conditions of site plan approval, shall apply to and bind APC Towers agent Arkaven on behalf of Verizon, any successors, assignees, purchasers, transferees, or subsequent owners. Any successor, assignee, purchaser, transferee, or subsequent owner and or operator shall comply with all of the conditions of the special use permit and site plan approval. The Charter Township of Bedford may enforce any violation of the provisions of this special land use permit and or its site plan against APC Towers agent Arkaven on behalf of Verizon or any successors, assignees, purchasers, transferees, or subsequent owners as provided in the township zoning ordinance or as otherwise provided by law. Any violation of these conditions is considered to be a violation of the township zoning ordinance, a nuisance per se, and the township may seek to enjoin such violation and or otherwise enforce these conditions as provided by law. A memorandum of the finding of fact and conditions of approval shall be recorded in the Calhoun County Register of Deeds. H, APC Towers agent Arkaven on behalf of Verizon is to notify the township in writing at the time of any transfer of ownership, operator, or maintenance provider via certified mail to address 115 South Yieldrich Drive, Battle Creek, Michigan, 49037. The letter shall be to the attention of Office of the Township Supervisor, Township Clerk, and Township Planning Commission Chairperson. I, APC Towers agent Arkaven on behalf of Verizon, the applicant agrees to reimburse the Charter Township of Bedford for all reasonable costs associated with the processing of the application dated 12/30/2025. Costs associated with the application are planner review, attorney review, and printing of the packets in this case. And then last one is J, APC Towers agent Arkaven on behalf of Verizon, the applicant agrees to reasonable condition that they must receive a variance concerning the tower height of 199 feet and subsequent setback relief of 83 feet from the ZBA as a condition of approval. This variance must be achieved or the application shall be considered not approved. All right, that concludes the finding of facts. Seth, I always get confused. Do I just make the motion or do I need to read the resolution all the way through?
To read the resolution, I mean, the resolution will speak for itself. A lot of it's like the whereas it's just titles.
Okay,
Where you went to the standards, which is part of the resolution.
okay.
So on the.
It's on the very,
10,
yep.
Yeah, I think that's.
That's good. That's good enough. Just read that as the motion. Okay, thank you. So be it resolved. I will move to approve the request of APC Towers agent Arkaven on behalf of Verizon special land use application and site plan dated June 5th, 2026 for a wireless communication tower on a property addressed as 20340 Hubbard Road, parcel number 04024-027-01, because the standards contained in section 4.55 of the Township zoning ordinance are satisfied pursuant to the reasons contained in this finding of fact, subject to the conditions of approval attached hereto, and the findings contained in the McKenna staff report dated June 16th, 2026. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion or concern about the motion? All right, we're going to go ahead and do a roll call. A yes vote will be for approval of the application, as we've just done the finding of fact, and as the conditions of approval, were read in, and will be attached to the meeting minutes and the document as well.
Ready?
Yes,
Chairman Stein,
yes.
trustee McKay,
Yes.
Commissioner Billington,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown, yes, Commissioner Artis.
Yeah.
6 yes, motion carries.
All right. With that, just for the applicant, your next steps, it sounds like, I believe they already have a ZBA meeting set for you, or they're in the process of doing that.
You have to reset it because the notice didn't.
We're on the 14th now.
14?
Yeah, they'll still be before the board meetings.
They'll be the 13th.
13th, I'm sorry. Yeah.
We think.
I'll email you tomorrow with.
Or email me, so do we have to go to the township board?
So your next step will be to get your variance from the ZBA, which as a condition of approval needs to be approved by them, or the application is not approved. Once that happens, it will need to go to the township board, via resolution for the final approval, as the ordinances, our zoning ordinances written that way currently. The planning commission will provide a letter of recommendation, noting all the conditions and everything else. The board will have copies of everything that we just went through, finding a fact, the conditions of approval, so on and so forth. And then the ZBA will do the same. And then theoretically, once you have that final approval from the board, you would, be clear to pull your permit and all that other stuff. We will require an updated 3 sets of design per the ordinance standard. And what that does is that comes in, and then we attach your conditions, the finding of fact, you get stamped approved. That's your final hurdle, I guess. Doesn't mean that you can't start your stuff once you have approval from the board, but it is just for our record keeping to show that you've gotten a copy of the conditions, you're aware of them, so on and so forth. And then obviously, if you were to violate any of the conditions or any of the terms of the zoning ordinance, we went through what would happen there. So I don't expect that to be a problem.
Yep.
And then as far as the costs associated, we'll get you copies of the invoice and all that other stuff. That's that.
Yeah, Cody sent me the application a few minutes ago.
Okay.
Checking that out, but the idea is if I can get that done tomorrow.
Okay.
That would throw out in Monday's paper, I think, so Sunday, so you'd be okay with the timeline.
They'd be good there.
And that'd be prior to the board meeting, so we can
Okay.
move it along
Yeah.
quick for you guys. Appreciate that.
And you guys had an opportunity to look at the condition list?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll also send the copies to you guys tomorrow as well.
Do you have any questions for the PC on that?
I'm assuming the township engineer is McKenna, or,
The planning consultant is, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so the planning
When
consultant,
the
so,
township engineer, that would not be
correct, it'd be, what's it,
CEI.
CEI, correct.
From McKinney, yeah.
So we technically have 8 days to get the meeting minutes out. It normally doesn't take us that long, but we'll send all this over to you. And we can send the conditions and the conditions over, I guess, before that. But I kind of would like to just wait until we have the meeting minutes so that they can be attached officially that way. Unless you need them now. I mean, you do have a copy, so. Unless you needed them for, a copy from us, prior to that, but you do have a copy of them, and what I just read is gonna be what they are.
Okay. It's very thorough, I will say that. I've never seen the proof of service on there, so we look at it, served.
Well, we just do it certified mail, but I mean, yes. Is one of the things that we try and do here in this township at this PC to make sure that everybody is, yes, correct.
And I'm appreciative of you doing it this way. I know a couple other ideas are thrown out, and I think this is the right way to record it.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Wonderful.
I have a silly question.
Okay.
Bear with me. I'm just curious. If when we're on the airplane we have to put our phones into airplane mode. How come the planes can go over, there's a flight path to the east of Hubbard Road as well as over my house. And I'm wondering, does that interfere with them at all?
No, they're, I don't interfere.
Yeah,
There.
That's,
especially when all those other towers would get attacked.
well, now they have both their plane. So it's just a different wavelength plane.
We don't have to do airplane mode anymore?
I'm not, no, I'm not saying that. Just in the last couple of times I've been on a plane, they said, if
Okay.
you pay us money, you can use your time.
Oh,
Supposedly, supposedly your cell phone interfered with a transponder years ago, but they just haven't
mhm.
updated anything.
Okay.
What's going on?
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Now those towers are everywhere, you know?
Okay, does the applicant have any other questions or concerns?
No questions for me?
No.
Okay, all right. Appreciate your guys' patience on that. I know it kind of took a little while to get us here, but, you know, we like to have all the information before we make a decision, so. Appreciate your willingness to resubmit documents in a timely fashion and everything. And we'll be sure that the board has everything that they need, that they can make a decision for you on the 14th, Cody? Is there board meeting?
14th of the board.
Okay.
14th, and then township board would be.
The next day, the Tuesday. So we're planning for a Monday and then the Tuesday is the board.
Alright.
So the 13th and the 20th?
The 13th and 14th.
13th and 14th.
Yeah. You guys, all set? Any other questions?
No,
Good?
I'm
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay. Are you guys okay with just kind of muscling through here? Or do we need to take a break?
Is your voice needed?
I know, I think I'm,
That's your voice, yeah.
I'm okay.
You should have went out to nursery.
Right. All right, next item on our agenda under old business is, draft language text amendment updates. So just yesterday, I got the list back from McKenna. They have got everything formatted and ready to go for, the typos and grammar stuff that we submitted. And then, the draft policy changes. They did have a couple of questions on the draft policy changes that they wanted me to bring back to you. Well, one of them was, I'm just gonna read off the list that we submitted. I mean, you guys had these, but I don't suspect you've got them in front of you. It was, page 9, 301, removing the special land use from mixed use district in manufacturing. So they requested, further context needed on that. So our proposed language that we wanted to remove manufacturing as a permitted or special land use from the mixed use district. And that is what I recall as kind of deciding that we wanted to propose. Right now, you can get a special land use permit for manufacturing in our mixed use district, but we thought that it was more appropriate that stay in the industrial area.
That's page 8 and 9. Is that section 3?
So it says, page 9, 3.01.
Okay,
If you're in your book,
right.
I guess we can go over this, can't we? You don't need the list. And that is just the table of uses, I would imagine.
Yes,
Okay, yep.
thanks. Look at it.
So I just wanted to confirm that that is what our thinking was before I got back with them. Is everybody in agreement that that is the draft language change we'd like?
Could you repeat the
So right now, you can, special land use is, an option in the mixed use district.
It's gonna be on page 9.
And we are going to remove that option for manufacturing as a special land use in the mixed use district, and it's just gonna be, in the industrial,
manufacturing?
It's gonna be what?
in the industrial district.
Oh,
I assume that's the only other one that's listed in, Claudia?
Yep.
Okay. Seems you've got it in there. Boy, that's a colorful looking piece of paper.
Right, all the changes. So we have it for,
We're gonna remove it as a special land use option from the mixed use district.
right, so we have it under E and I
Enterprise and industrial.
as permitted.
Yep.
So, okay, what I have.
And then the only other question they had on our policies was number 8. That's page 9 again, 301, adding special land use to the mixed use district for kennel, rescue, foster, and personal. So I believe we were gonna add a special land use for that category to the mixed use district.
Yep.
Okay. Those were the only 2 questions that they came back with on that stuff. And then they said, or Kyle had responded back on the clarifications for planner and attorney review. We just had a few more things that we needed to go over with our attorney on section 13 to submit our comments to them so they could format. And then they said, or he'd indicated that he would have samples of the gun range and the rec indoor standards that we had requested before our next PC meeting.
Okay.
And he had sent me over a track changes version of the zoning ordinance. So I will go through the tedious task of making sure that they got all these in there that we requested, but we do have that. And I can certainly send that to you guys, and you could help in that process as well before the next meeting. So that's where we are as far as updating the language on the text amendments. I would assume that, we're going to talk about our meeting conflict that we have as our next regularly scheduled meeting is in August. We'll get to that at the end of the agenda there and talk about, maybe moving that or whatever we have to do. I would assume that the next time we meet, we'll have all the draft changes in front of us, all of the language. We can go over that, and then I would anticipate us setting for public hearing essentially 2 weeks from when that is, and we would just have a special meeting, or if it was close enough to the next regularly scheduled meeting, we would just keep it that way. Seth, is that?
Yeah, I thought you just sent you an email about that.
Okay.
You and I are trying to.
We are,
it's
it's busy life right now.
So what I say is like, just give me some dates and times that work for you.
Okay.
And then I'll make it work in my schedule.
Okay. Trying to make it happen. Absolutely. Is it practical for us to have, so at our next meeting, we're going to have all of the McKenna changes, all of the draft language of stuff that we're adding. Would it be practical for us to review that at that meeting and then agree to go ahead and hold the public hearing, in 2 weeks, a little more than 2 weeks, obviously, but.
Yeah, I think we can, as long as we get everything.
Because we'll have all of the changes that we're requesting, we'll have in front of us that evening.
Right, which was this what month is this? This is the July meeting, or?
So we have one scheduled for the 4th of August, but that's primary day. Yeah,
Okay.
so we're gonna discuss what we want to do there, I guess, as far as that goes. I guess I was just asking, if we have all that information in front of us, is it feasible for us to go ahead and notice that, like, 2+ weeks later? You gotta have
I mean,
15
I
days,
think
so 2
so.
weeks.
Meet on a Tuesday, get in the following Sunday's paper.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yep.
Sorry, if we try for Thursday's paper, it has to be in by 11:30 on Monday. So that's the awkward
Yeah.
one, but Sunday we can submit Friday afternoon.
Yeah, we
if they
can
have
probably.
space. we
Okay.
can fit it.
Probably gonna be a pretty big notice.
Okay, so I was just thinking about that. Cody, do you think it's cheaper to do the shopper?
It's definitely cheaper than.
Okay. Because it is gonna be a big notice.
Yeah, and Inquire, is generally just more expensive, but also more expensive the larger you go.
Okay, all right. So however we do that, then we'll want to keep that in mind so that we give Seth enough time to get the notice around. And I think the preference would be to put it in the shopper
More people
Absolutely.
look at the shopper than
Do they?
they
Okay.
inquire, yeah, they inquire.
to save a few dollars for the township as well. So we'll just keep that in mind when we get to that point. I also do think that Kyle is our partner from McKenna there is anticipating being at that meeting. So if we have any questions about any of the proposed draft changes, we'll be able to address them there, maybe even, address them like literally with the laptop right when we're right there. And then, that would also aid in helping Seth get the notice out.
Right.
Okay, any other questions on that? And Kyle is normally really good about getting stuff to us like well before the meeting, so it is certainly possible that we can get all this stuff like 2 weeks before or more before we get to that meeting. Any other questions on text amendment update from anybody? Okay. All right, perfect. That is our tentative plan there. Update on SLU applications. All right. Cody. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of do these in order. So we heard Cody talk about the fire department's special land use that we'll have. When do you think that we'll realistically get that, Cody?
It's at least a few months out.
Okay, because I mean, they've got to bring the RFP back to the board. The board has to approve design and then.
Well, so yeah, the RFPs are due the 29th at 2 p.m. and Mark and I are doing a public opening immediately after, as well as the supervisor, and the fire chief. And then we're doing interviews the first week of July and making the recommendation on who to go with. And this is just for the design and programming phase at the July board meeting. And then we actually have to go through the design. This just came up because a lot of the questions different firms were sending me were, will this have to go through planning commission approval? So that's what got me thinking about it. So we're a good amount of time out still.
Okay.
4 to 6 months.
Because I mean, theoretically, the board could not like the design
Exactly.
and we'd have to start all over.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So it wouldn't be until we have an approved design.
That we would have to even think about it here at this
Exactly.
level. Okay, that's what I like to hear. Just making sure we weren't going to be part of that rodeo. All right, wonderful. Casey's over here. Have we reached out to them, letting them know that their 1 year is going to expire and when it's going to expire?
Yeah, and I'm still, last I heard from the landowner, and I asked him what's happening with that. He went like,
Okay.
so I still don't know if that's off. I still don't know if that's on
Okay.
When did you speak to him? Recently?
in a couple of weeks.
Couple weeks?
Since the last meeting, but
Okay, so nothing since then.
it goes back and forth with them so much. Like Mike said earlier, I'll believe it when I see excavators out there digging.
Seth, can I ask you a legal question? Do you think it is appropriate for us to reach out to the applicant specifically, not the landowner, because they have a lease agreement or whatever it is?
Tentative,
The
yeah.
tentative lease agreement, but to the applicant themselves, because they were the ones that were given the approval.
Right.
To inform them, let them know this is what it is, I mean, I would assume that the landowner is in communication with them about that, but I mean, just so we are covered.
Like a special land use approval to.
So they-
That's leasing the property.
Well, so they were approved for the special land use, but they have 1 year to make, progress.
Yeah.
And we're coming up on that time.
Right.
So I was saying, do you think it's appropriate to reach out to the applicant themselves? So we've only reached out to the landowner, not the applicant.
Let the applicant know that you're coming up on the,
Correct, yes, that they're coming up
I
on
mean,
these.
that's a courtesy, but.
Okay,
What is, Cody, do you have a date? Do you have a date? of when that's up?
Yeah, it took me a while to find it, and then Mike was able to find it. I think you emailed it to me.
all right, so Cody, I would like us to reach out to the applicant specifically and just let them know that of that provision in the zoning ordinance so that they're aware.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. All right, that's gas station number one. Gas station number two, which has caused quite the stir with the public. I've gotten several questions about it. Where are we on the application being ready for us to review to make sure that they have everything?
I let them know that since they had SME out there a few weeks ago doing the phase 2 of the environmental, we'd like to see that. So there's no sense in having them come in front of us twice,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll just wait until we have everything. I haven't heard where they're at on the expected timeline of that, but it should be relatively soon.
Okay.
When we had SME do our environmental at the fire station, that only took a couple weeks, so.
Okay, and we have their site plan already, correct?
Yep, we have their site plan. They did send over the restrictive covenant, which
Okay.
was based off of the first environmental assessment done there, which that shows a much smaller spot than I originally thought based off everyone's concerns of actual contamination. And it's more towards the driveway coming off of West Michigan. So that part can't be dug up and developed, but that, it's just part of the driveway, so that'll just be capped. Other than that, there's not much area that can't be developed.
Okay.
Do we have a name for this gas station? Other than the one that's kitty corner from.
Right. There's a gas station number two.
3312 West Michigan.
3312?
3312, all right.
Okay, we'll call it 3312.
Didn't that, what was the old name?
Logan's.
I've heard Logan's and I've heard some other name too.
Well, it's had several names.
Yeah.
All right, and so we do have, so the concern that I have heard both at a board meeting that I've attended and then through subsequent conversations with residents is that we were told that property was never going to be developed again. And I think it's in everyone's best interest to show when that theory of the crime changed.
Yeah.
So that stuff from the land bank that you sent me was from 2018. I can't remember when that was. It was in late 2023, I believe, when they
October 2023 is when we tore it down.
finally tore that down. So I guess, is there something that applicant can provide? Like, I just don't see how they're not going to tear up and develop that whole site. That thing is the size of a table. You know what I mean? So people are very, very concerned about the contamination that exists and what process is going to be done if they do decide to, get in there. What needs to happen? What precautions need to happen? I don't know if that will come back in the testing that they're going to have done or whatever, but I know that's going to be a question from several residents, and it's going to be one from us. So whatever we can get information on that, I think would be helpful in moving this along, because I know that they would like to move it along. But I mean, there's no point in bringing them before us until we have an answer to that question, because it's going to be one. And it's one that is a factor in several of those standards of review that we just did.
So I believe a lot of it is actually deep into that restrictive covenant.
Is it? Okay.
Declaration of land or resource use restrictions, prohibitive activities to eliminate unacceptable exposures and regulated. So it sets forth, okay, this is the restricted area and here are the prohibited activities.
Like, for just an example, because you have it in front of you, and if you can't answer, that's fine. But like, if they were to dig down, they can only dig down so many feet.
I believe that's in here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah, because it gives the contaminated soil management plan,
Okay.
and everything like that.
Okay. I know they have been wanting and eager to get on to the planning commission agenda. I mean, we have a very full plate right now. So the sooner they get all that stuff to us, so that we can have like 10 days to review it and make sure that they are good to go, we will accommodate.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, perfect. Special land use over on River Road. Are we?
I think we're very close. They sent me the batch documents today. It's just afternoon after work hours. I just forwarded them to you. I pull them up so I can remember the exact titles. There is the registration with Eagle as a compost management.
Okay.
They were required to do a bond for Eagle.
Yep.
And then there's certificate of liability insurance.
Yep.
I've gone over the site plan. I know it's a very confusing site plan. I'd like to go over it with you because I've been going through and checking off what they have. A lot of his questions on the things that are required in the ordinance say proposed this,
Mm-hmm.
but everything's already existing over there.
Okay.
So it's like, we want a landscape plan and proposed vegetation. Everything already exists. They've been doing this for years. This is just their way to become a legitimate and have equal and
Right.
the state promote them basically.
I mean, I hear what they're saying, but I mean, it's within our purview to add landscape requirements if we want to. That's why having the complete site plan is so important, so that we can have a full picture of what's existing, so that we can make that determination as far as that goes. Which is kind of what I had, said to you. The site plan that we have is, I think, only one page.
It is one page.
Okay.
And it's loaded with information.
And it's loaded with information. I mean, loaded with information.
One of the things when we were talking about the initial amendments, I brought up on like requiring the contours and everything
Right.
like that. Like it really muddies up a site plan, makes it difficult to read.
Which is why I just for the frame of reference for the entire team, I had reached out and said, we really would like these site plans to be similar to what we have had before, where you have multiple pages, so here's your landscaping on one, here's your, topography on another, so on and so forth. I understand that costs a lot of money, but I mean, it is a requirement of the zoning ordinance, and we cannot approve a site plan without checking off all those 9 questions, and I don't see how you check off those questions if you don't have the information.
Right.
So we need to work on that with him as far as that goes. I understand that he might be a little frustrated about that, but from a finding a fact standpoint, I don't see how we can, go against some of that kind of stuff. All right, so we're still gathering information on that.
Yep.
Okay, and then the rezone?
The rezone, I spoke with him today. He's gonna send over the list of, I forget what section of the ordinance it is.
Mm-hmm.
13, whatever, that 1 through 10.
Yep.
He's gonna send that to his designer.
And get that.
And
Okay.
that way they have the whole site plan that they'd also submit for their building plan and everything. He's just gonna knock all that out and then.
Okay. And just so the entire team has a frame of reference there, we just had an application there. That's all we had. And if you get into the book, there's, to do a rezone, there's 10 requirements that you have to have. Like you have to have a site plan, you have to show, X, Y, and Z. So they were probably just a little confused, maybe.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So we just,
Yeah, the
Been through
properties
the process
around
in
it.
other townships
And-
and they didn't require us.
that are not as thorough as we are.
One thing he did ask is, I think it's number 10, it states, locations of water mains and, some other utility.
Mhm.
There is none out there, so that you just want that in writing, that, this
Yeah, so you would-
property is certified private utilities.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Cause you will note there's there is a septic and well and electric already on site. From a previous house, I believe.
Yeah, we just need everything that's listed in the book so that we can do a proper finding of fact.
Yeah.
Are you referring to what on the rezone? Hubbard Road
Morgan.
Morgan,
or
yeah.
Morgan and Hubbard, right?
No, it's just on Morgan itself, but for the sake of conversation, all we had was an application there, and
Right.
we needed more. So
And the properties around it have to be notified.
correct,
as well.
and we're a long ways from that.
Mhm.
We're just finding out where we stand so that we can hopefully navigate this without having to have too many
Ultimately,
special
he's
meetings.
able to do 90% of what he wants to do there
Right.
without the rezone. It's just he also wants to have a small building to be his business's office. And with that property being so deep, the front 150, I believe, is mixed
Mixed
use,
use, yep.
and the rest is residential. And 150 feet doesn't even reach to where his property opens up to become buildable.
He just needs to get all the information, and then
Yep.
we'll go from there.
He said it should be a couple weeks. So.
Okay, that's fine. I just trying to keep
Is that
everybody
Jones?
in the loop as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And then the last one we got, Cody, is the PUD.
Yep, so
So you had sent me an email about a meeting.
they're trying to get on this quick as well.
Okay.
I did inform them Thursday will not work.
Okay,
So I'll back up to explain to the commission. We let them know that on something this big, our ordinance states the applicant may request a preliminary review with the PC chair and myself. We'll probably ask Steph to be there as well, to go over everything, make sure everything is there before ever even, because the PUD is a lot. None of us have ever done one.
That's huge.
This is the Hubbard one, right?
yep, correct.
That's what I thought.
Reading through it now, I understand it a lot better, and it doesn't seem as nearly as intimidating as it once did. But it's still a very huge project. I've still only seen that preliminary site plan where they were gonna remove one of the roads they had, based off of the, fire chiefs. Didn't think they needed that, and that would actually cause more problems. That was a connection to Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
I've also spoken with their engineer doing their utilities, and he had me send him the sewer and water GIS map, so they could figure out what size mains are where and everything like that. I know they were in contact with the road department as well as utilities for that. I haven't heard where they're at as of now,
Okay,
but I will have them send over. I'll get a series of dates that are a little further out.
okay.
You did speak of an escrow. There is nothing in the PUD section about an escrow. There is the performance guarantee.
Well, that's not true.
Not that I saw.
So it doesn't reference, so Seth, I guess I would like you to weigh in here just a little bit. So in here, where is it? Oh, I don't know, I gotta find it.
PUD is page 150.
So the performance guarantee, we definitely can do that. So it's in here somewhere. I know that it is. It states that the township can request the applicant to pay for a review of the project.
Yeah.
So a review, I would assume, would be,
I see what you're saying.
okay,
It's not actually titled like the.
correct. It is not, so it is not titled like,
I see what you're saying.
like we have escrow. Where, did you find it, Cody?
I know what part you're talking
Okay,
about. though,
all right.
Yeah, it's like they're under 12.04, I think. Or 12.0.
So it's on page 152, 1204D, professional review. The planning commission may request professional review of the preliminary plans by appropriate agencies or consultants. If such a review is requested, the designated agencies or consultants shall prepare and transmit reports to the planning commission on their findings and conclusions. Any recommendations, changes, or revisions, the township shall require the applicant to pay the cost of such fees. So it does not specifically say escrow, but I mean, that's essentially what that is.
Make them at the time of the application, you should probably talk to them, Cody.
Okay, so I guess that's your, we're right all on the same page.
I'll question too.
Yes, go ahead.
So for that, should we get the stuff from them, send it over to who we want as the professional reviewer and get their quote? Because with an escrow, it's, you have to give us this much the moment it falls
Correct.
below that.
Yep.
Whereas this, they just have to put the bill basically.
So, Seth, you can jump in and correct me if I'm wrong at any point, and I won't be upset about it, but in my head, this works this way. We need to indicate, they're gonna put an application in. We need to indicate to them that we are gonna require a professional review, which is gonna include, probably an RFP, or at least a quote from McKenna. Does McKenna do PUDs? I would assume they do.
So.
Okay. With our partner at McKenna, which, I'll put that together just as I do everything. As far as what the scope of work is and all that jazz. And then they'll be able to give us a pretty firm number on what that is. But I would think that if they're gonna put an application in, we should indicate to them that that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And then at that time, we would have basically, I guess, a quote from our attorneys and then a quote from our, partners at McKenna, or if we wanted to put it out for an RFP, we could do that, I guess. And then they would need to basically deposit that money, and then we would start reviewing the process.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Kind of get the quote first and then have them.
Yes.
deposit.
Now, what I will say is having just done, basically a mini RFP for this, wireless telecommunication, a lot of the, comments or concerns, depends on how complete the application is. So you're referring to that, there are project design standards in here.
Yep.
7 of them. No, more than that, because there's A, B, C, and D, and some of them have multiple, so it looks like 10 or 11. They have to go through site review, which is gonna be all of those things that we require in section 1303.
Yep.
And then, Seth, I would assume before you do any kind of application on a PUD, you would have a road agreement in place with the county or however, or the developer, however that's gonna go. And then however they're gonna get their water and stuff, correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing, like whatever they're doing with the road, it's kind of like, let us know, because we can't compel them in the county to do anything,
Right,
right? So, yeah, I mean, they should be able to talk to you about that.
okay,
With, you said with water too?
yeah, I mean, 'cause they're gonna have water.
Water,
It borders them to the east and west.
right, no, that we provide service, or how? do you-
I mean, we contract through the
Contract
city.
with
of-
Yeah.
the- Right, so.
So I guess what I'm saying is there's a couple layers there that need to be ironed out before it can even come to the planning commission
Yeah.
to make a decision, you can't make a decision on something you don't know.
And that's one of the reasons why I suggested the
Okay.
pre-application conference with us.
Seth, in your recommendation, if we're gonna have a pre-conference, should we not get them to put, the escrow down, or it's a pre-conference kind of,
What kind of conference, like who they want that with?
well, I'm assuming, so the zoning ordinance says it can be with Cody, but I mean, good practice here would be the chair who's gonna oversee this, and then I always think it's a good idea to have our township attorney
Does
there.
it make them, I mean, let them understand that that's gonna be part of the escrow?
Okay,
I mean, they shouldn't, PUDs are fairly involved. right?
correct,
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
It's not like solar, but it's still, they're involved, so they should understand that,
Okay,
yeah, there's costs associated with that, and they have to pay it.
okay. So Cody, to circle back to that, I mean, I guess I would indicate to them that, we are gonna do a professional services review. And then if, they would like to have a meeting, the cost for that meeting, preliminary, I think that's a good idea. And then I would stress that they need to have a complete application, because every time you go back to something else, it's more money, every time you do a review. So,
Yep, absolutely.
all right, wonderful. There's no other ones hanging out there, is there? Okay,
I hope not.
good.
Someone's just waiting to pop one up in front of me.
No, they'll have to get in line. Okay, next item on the agenda is review and discussion of the moratorium ordinance language and types. So that was number 3 there. Just got the word draft stamped all over it.
Mike, real quick on that, so I was
Yes, sir.
looking at that this afternoon, and it looks like there was an updated copy that we sent you.
Okay,
Functionally, it doesn't really make that much of a difference.
okay,
There were a couple of things in here that we changed, and.
Okay.
But for the purpose of discussion, it's fine. It's fine,
Okay.
No.
all right. So this is the one that pertains to us at the PC level in the zoning ordinance. The other one that we had was for the board, and there's no reason for us to discuss that as far as that goes. So this, Seth, just so I have an understanding, so this would amend the zoning ordinance, but specifically for data centers, correct?
Right, so I think
Okay.
like, when I have your zoning ordinance up here, and I'm looking at like the table of contents, you would probably just amend your zoning ordinance to create a new section,
Okay,
titled moratoriums.
title moratorium, all
Yeah,
right,
and then figure out how you wanna do it. So like, I'm looking here, you have 16 articles. So you'd be looking to amend your zoning ordinance to add a new article 17 titled moratoriums. And then the township would have to decide, how do you want to do it? Do you want to do temporary? Do you want to do use specific? And then that would be what's contained in Article 17.
Okay. And is this one that we have this draft, that's use specific, correct?
Yeah, this is, yeah, but I want to send you the updated
Do you? Okay,
copy. I mean, but again, this is 99% the same. It's just, I may have just, I have two different ordinances on, I just may have put the wrong one, okay,
okay,
the other one too.
no worries. Gene, as liaison, so I mean, I think everyone is in agreement that we are certainly interested in pursuing, at the very least, something for data center, correct? Okay. We're very, I think we're all on the same page as far as that goes. It's an upcoming thing or whatever. I definitely think that we should look into making a new section for moratoriums in the zoning ordinance to allow for it. I definitely think that, in my opinion, I think we should always be use specific.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You know, I don't know, you know, the board didn't ask a lot of questions when I was there.
I think they're just building their awareness,
Okay,
but I think what I gathered is
okay,
they're really counting on the planning commission.
to however we decide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Seth, if we create a new Article 17 is moratoriums. We would authorize language for moratoriums to be used, and then we would need to designate whether that's specific use and an amendment to the zoning ordinance each time.
So like, just look at the structure of your ordinance, it would be Article 17, and the title would be moratorium. And then section 16.01, you could look at maybe purposes,
Mhm.
something like that, but then 1602 would be temporary moratorium on data centers.
Okay,
And then your provisions for that.
okay,
And then whenever you're done with that, 1603, if there's ever a new use, then it would be, whatever that use is, like hydrogen, I think is something that's gonna be
okay,
trying to deal with at some point.
gotcha.
But with use specific, I do think it keeps it a little bit more organized, because like, okay, A, B, C, and D, there are moratoriums for. But
Okay.
Rather than if you have a general, then, you kind of lose track maybe
Okay.
of what's
Yep.
moratorium, what's not.
I mean, I personally don't have a problem I can't imagine we're ever gonna do one of these again, to be quite frank. I mean, maybe
Never
we
know
will,
what's coming up.
but it's true, we don't. But I mean, we're not gonna do these all the time, I guess,
No.
is what I'm getting at. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to have to amend the ordinance every time we have to do it. And then the board would do the same, correct? They would adopt.
Yeah, I think in the fact, if you're going into a moratorium and there's notice of that, I still think you're gonna be protected from exclusionary zoning
Okay,
because you're initiating the process. So if the planning commission did, your moratorium zoning ordinance amendment to data centers, you have your draft, you hit set for public hearing, it goes to county, then up, but to the board. But at the board level, you would adopt the zoning ordinance amendment and the non-zoning ordinance amendment at the same time. But for charter townships, you have the first reading and then adoption, so they stay together and it just goes that way. I think that'd be fine.
all right. So moving forward then, I think that we probably need to include that in our list of draft policy changes for McKenna to put in.
What do you mean?
Well, so, I mean, right now, so the moratorium, the idea of one is new in the last two months at the PC level. So we should, while we're doing the text amendment, we should create that new article.
Yeah, with what we're publishing for in August.
Correct, yes.
Put it all together.
Yes, okay.
So,
All right, so what I'll need to do is bring them into the loop that we're gonna request that. Because that was not part of our initial request. Okay,
use our moratorium ordinance, because I've been to court on that one before.
okay,
Okay, so I know it works.
okay, absolutely. So, but what I'm saying is we'll need to incorporate Article 17 and language of that.
And I have that.
Okay, do you? Okay, all right. All right, so maybe this is not a big deal as far as that goes. Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Are we gonna look at maybe doing a type of ordinance or anything, or are we just gonna go with the moratorium on this?
So what, Seth, you can explain it if you want.
Well, right, so the first step I think would be getting that moratorium in place, doing your public hearings, get it up to the board. While that's going on, then we would need to like start looking at zoning ordinance, even data center zoning ordinance.
Okay.
Rob's been telling me it was gonna be 2 weeks since February. So,
Okay,
so and every time I see him, I was asking, that was 2 weeks, so, but maybe I think I need to press him a little bit, because I know he's been working on it, I know it's also not a very easy thing.
right,
Cause like, you know, people, a lot of times you're associating with data centers with preemption, but like with K 233, but it's not. Okay, it's not, you could regulate it more strictly, so like, whatever draft amendment, whatever draft ordinance gets done, like, yeah, it's gonna be like a starting point, but it's not something, everyone's gonna be different with it.
okay,
Okay, cause like, whatever Lowell's doing in the Grand Rapids area, like, I know the planner that's on that, it's like a 10-story data center. So their regulations are fairly loose, right? And that falls into that scope of like a hyper center. But you don't necessarily need to allow something like that. And what we're trying to do is kind of find where that line is to have, allow something smaller and kind of, you know, we're still allowing this use, not that, you know, that monster.
yeah, right,
Right, so that's what we're trying
okay,
to do.
I mean, to answer your question, Claudia, so the point of doing the moratorium is that gives us 6 months or a year if we have to extend it, with the board approval, to develop regulations and standards.
okay, so I'm just
Yeah.
making sure we're still
Yeah.
looking to develop something and we're not just gonna.
Yeah, you know, you look into it, you go through the whole process, where, you know, do we think this is right for Bedford? And then you decide, well, where might it be? And, you know, all the standards that you always do and everything else. But I mean, the moratorium is to give you time to do that,
Okay,
so that you don't get, you know, some application, you know, tomorrow and not have anything, basically.
okay,
It's important to get it right. Like in Saline, like one of my attorneys, has family in that area and he drove by the site. It's like a mile long. Okay, so
Wow.
like, we gotta be careful with what we're doing, you know, to not end up with, I mean, I'm assuming the township probably might not want something like that.
That's correct.
Okay.
Sure.
Probably not.
Right.
And
Well, I
keep-
mean, you know, and who knows what you know, they probably didn't have an ordinance, I would assume.
No, what happened was they didn't, and they said they didn't want one, and they got sued for exclusionary zoning.
Right.
So the board township didn't really want to litigate because they're probably facing massive damages for something like that.
Mhm.
So now there's a consent judgment, and, you know, here we are. And, you know, when you submit that type of claim to your insurance carrier and you see potential damages, you know, if there's an exclusion.
Yep.
Or, you know, depending on what your policy's like limits are, like if it's a massive amount of damages, you know, it's not gonna do any good.
Yep.
So,
Which is what we're always trying to avoid.
Right.
So,
and-
okay,
all right, and just to clarify.
yeah,
In
yeah.
in keeping with this conversation, this part of this Epic Times paper had a really good article, and I'm thinking that we should probably gather as much information as we can. Excuse me, to use. Nearly 5,000 AI data centers spread across the United States. They've got little dots on where they are and where they're proposed. And the fact that right now, they're saying that some of the data centers do use up to 5 million gallons of water, which is equivalent to what they use in small towns.
Sure.
There's already in operation 3,100 data centers, and there's 1,800 more in various stages across the country.
Sure.
So we're just about into the 5,000 mark right now. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up, that there's a lot of information starting to pour out on these data centers.
Well,
And
and
I don't know.
that's why the moratorium and the
Mhm.
ability to have one is so important, because it gives everybody time to get information from the paper or the attorney or, you know, whoever, you know, as far as that
all
goes.
the renewable companies that I've worked with, they either all are involved in building data centers or will have power agreements with data centers.
Sure.
So they're all working together.
Yeah.
And I think I think I provided you the PowerPoint, did I send you the
Mhm,
PowerPoint?
you did,
So, I mean,
yeah.
that's just general information for us, piece of one, we can put in an agenda packet or whatever, but
So you actually gave us that presentation.
I gave it, okay, perfect,
You did?
Mhm.
that works. Never, I gave that.
You,
Like,
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're so good.
I kind of was like, why is he sending this to me again? But I mean, I was like, well, I've already seen this. I know this about. Right, yeah.
You're like, you're having deja vu or what?
Yeah, no. No, I mean, you said a bunch of good stuff over. I mean,
Okay, good, yeah.
as far as that goes. So, I mean, but that is always, good, if anybody, wants the slides sent to them digitally from when Seth made the presentation, I don't know, 4 months ago at least, anyway, or three or 4 meetings ago. We have a copy and can do that, so. Okay, so Seth, I think I'll go ahead and let McKenna know that we're gonna propose draft language to authorize the use of moratoriums. And then I will take a look at that draft language that you've got that is more specific that you just sent. And then we'll have that for the next meeting as well. Any other questions on that part of the discussion?
Nope, I'm all set.
Okay. Okay, next, discussion new business. So cancellation of the meeting scheduled for August 4th at 6 p.m. So I forget why we moved that. I think we moved it originally to give us, because we were gonna do 10 meetings again this year and not have 3 breaks. So the thinking was there that we would bump that out, because this month was earlier, we'd have kind of a mini break. I don't know what that is anymore, whatever. But that falls on primary day. And the clerk has indicated that there's lots of comings and goings and election stuff that happens here in the meeting room.
Mhm.
Cody, you had mentioned
Oh,
to me.
yeah.
Half of
busy.
the voting board will be in this.
Okay.
That whole
Yeah.
day,
All right.
and then I'll be receiving board after 8 p.m.
Okay, so we can't do a meeting that day. The following Tuesday is gonna be the board's meeting. So we can't do one then, so, we can come back into July a little bit. We don't have to meet on a Tuesday. That's just traditionally what we've done, especially if we decide to meet, like later in that week. It's plenty enough time for us to get, postings out, get it on the website's calendar. We can get it out on Facebook that we've, changed our meeting date from here to there, so on and so forth. I'm not a huge fan of necessarily moving it up, because we have so much stuff that we need to get around, I guess. Because I would really like that to be a extremely productive meeting, in the sense that we can get all of that stuff sorted through and get posted for our public hearing and whatnot. But I am certainly open to any suggestion that, I'm not saying we can't make an earlier meeting work, but I mean, it'll be a lot, right, Seth?
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot to discuss.
Correct.
So what about August 18th, just the following week after the board meeting? Can we do that?
August
That's a
18th,
Tuesday, right?
yeah, I've got something with MTA.
Okay.
Does it have to be on Tuesday?
It does not.
Mhm.
So we could do
Good.
19th, 20th.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily want to push it that far.
Do like the 13th.
12th or 13th.
Board meeting.
Right, I mean, I hate to double you up, Gene.
Okay, 12th or 13th, I'm wide open.
I wouldn't be able to make it
Huh?
12th and 13th.
I might be out of state that day. I
Okay,
don't,
all right. The 12th or 13th, you said?
I think.
Okay,
What's open on your schedule? Let's,
Honestly, I mean, probably is this the public hearing date or is this?
no, it is not. No, it's just where we're gonna go everything, but I mean, I think I do think that you and Kyle both are gonna need to be there, because we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about the draft moratorium language, adding that in as far as the public hearing goes and everything else.
What
Yeah,
about
I
the
think
10th
I
or
might get
11th?
something
10th or
scheduled
11th?
for us, like the 30th through that, like July, July
Oh,
30th.
you're talking July. I was
Following
looking at
week,
August.
which
Okay.
is-
Yeah, me too.
Okay,
What-
Seth, do you have
what
any
was it?
availability? Gene, you said the 12th or 13th was okay?
Yeah, or
What we're talking about other dates?
That was in August, right?
That was in August.
Mhm.
Okay, Seth, you said the 12th and 13th of August did not work, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
No, you kind of call, it's probably best if I just call her. out.
Yeah, no.
Call the boss.
We've all got one.
quick break. Okay. Walk that far.
Actually, why don't we just go ahead, I'll move to take a 10-minute recess.
Okay.
Do I have support?
Or
Okay. All right. All right, I'll move to reconvene the meeting here at 7:49.
Second.
All right, thank you. All right, so we are discussing cancellation of the August 4th meeting and the potential rescheduling. So I guess let's go ahead and do this in order as I have it on the agenda. So we've just discussed the need to cancel the August 4th meeting. So let's go ahead and roll call vote on that. I will move to cancel August 4th meeting and we'll reschedule that as soon as we've canceled it officially.
Okay, so, roll call, Chairman Stein,
Yes.
Trustee McKay,
Yes.
Commissioner Artis,
yes.
Commissioner Middleton,
yes,
although it's gone, Commissioner Jones,
Yes,
Commissioner Brown, yes.
by the way, I seconded that.
6
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
motion carries.
Kevin seconded that, by the way.
Okay.
All right. And then now we're on to discussion and replacement of the meeting date for the canceled August 4th meeting.
Kevin, is there any time that week that you can? Like, there's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Gone all that week.
Oh, that week, okay, just wondered, okay.
This will be for the real long thing, right?
Yeah, so it won't be for the public hearing, but we're gonna, go over all the draft changes and go over some moratorium stuff. I mean, you'll still be provided the packet and everything else.
Okay.
And nothing that we do at that meeting is, we will do again
Yeah.
at the public hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as far as that goes.
The other option is if they could be excused for that.
Oh, of course, absolutely. No, yeah, 100%. Okay, then I think with at least 5 of us being able to be here on the 12th,
You would still have a quorum.
we would still have a quorum. So, I will move to reschedule the August 4th canceled meeting to August 12th. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you. And then, just so it's nice and official, we'll roll call that.
Okay.
Please.
Ready?
Yep.
Commissioner Billington,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Artis,
Yeah.
Trustee McKay,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown, yes, and Chairman Stein.
Yes.
Okay, 6 yes, motion carried.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry about that, guys. When we did that schedule, I was not thinking about primary day.
No, I wouldn't have either.
At
Yeah,
all.
I wouldn't know.
Appreciate everybody's flexibility to try and keep us semi on track with the timing of everything else, because we do have a September meeting already scheduled, so.
Yes. September 22nd.
So that will work out. We have, in my estimation, enough time now to get everything, no ifs, ands, or buts about it to us on the 12th. And then we'll have enough time to get that posted and in our regularly scheduled meeting that we already have. There should not be a whole lot of pressure there, but that never works out for us that way, Seth. So, I mean, I don't know why I'm talking about it, to be honest with you. Next item on the agenda is open public comment time.
And if my plans get changed, I can let you know.
Okay, perfect. We'll open that up at 7:53. And this comment can be about anything you want.
I've got nothing.
Seeing none, we'll close that at 7:53. Next item on the agenda is planning commission member time. Tony, would you like to start us off?
I don't have anything tonight.
All right, trustee McKay?
Thank you for all the efforts and especially on the moratorium language and moving forward on that. The board will be very happy.
Awesome.
Excellent, thank you. Kevin?
Thank you to our chair for all his work and coordinating everything. Very much.
No problem. Commissioner Jones?
Your primary reading teacher would be very proud of you.
Oh, would she? Okay.
Yeah. Very good.
She's still alive. I'll pass it on to her. Commissioner Brown?
I have nothing. Thank you, though.
Okay. And I'll just, end quickly with thanks for everybody, being willing to go through the process and be as thorough as we were. I would note that that's the 3rd applicant in a row that we've had thank us for being thorough,
Yeah,
which tells me we're probably doing things, just how we should be and maybe even a little bit different than other places. And that's a good thing. So I appreciate all the help. And with that, I will move to adjourn the meeting at 7:54.
Second.